Hollow Knight is a brilliant Metroidvania 2D platformer with an emphasis on boss battles in a land laced with lore and characters that breathe life into this fictional land. Team Cherry constructed the lay of the land, the lore, and all of the inhabitants of Hallownest through a shared lore document where they would jot down their respective ideas throughout the development of the game. And as the world began to flesh itself out, becoming incredibly more sizable than the development team had originally planned, they ended up needing to change dev engines completely, switching over to Unity in order to accommodate this massive game that they were working on. And as such, a game as deceivingly large as this became riddled with interconnected NPCs and stories with tie-ins, sometimes an entire map away. This style of intertwined and overlapping story arcs ends up creating a very fragmented type of narration. For instance, learning pieces of lore about the Pale King all over the land of Hallownest. From King's Pass to Dirtmouth to the City of Tears to the White Lady's dialogue in the Queen's Gardens, all the way down to the depths of the Abyss. It's Team Cherry's style of storytelling where they give you little droplets of dialogue and lore here and there until by the end of the game, you wake up and realize you're fucking chilling with Millabelle in a hot tub, wondering how the hell you got there. And naturally, due to this fragmented lore layering, this can leave you feeling like you didn't quite get the entire picture and can sometimes leave more questions than answers. And so in this video, let's chat about the 40 questions that I still don't entirely know the answer to. And if you have the answers to some of these questions, please leave it down in the comments below. I'm dying to know. And also, drop any questions below that you're still fuzzy on as well, and maybe the community can help answer. Let's dive in. Let's start off discussing some questions that remain regarding the Nailsmith and the Nail Masters. Who was the Nailsmith talking to when we first meet him? When we first come across the Nailsmith in the western part of the City of Tears, he doesn't even look our way before assuming that he has a repeat customer back with more steel to hone. Maybe Hornet or Tiso? I don't know, but either way, I still don't know who he thought he was talking to. Also, what the hell does Oro owe to Matto, and what has he done in the past to wrong Matto so much that he has secluded himself away in the far reaches of Kingdom's Edge, seemingly severing those brotherly ties? Now, if you get the pure nail and complete the Nailsmith's quest, if you choose to let him live and deny his request at death by that pure nail, then he goes on to live peacefully with the Nail Master Sheo, snuggled away in Greenpath. So the third question is, since the achievement you receive upon visiting the two of them is called Happy Couple, then that means that Sheo and the Nail Master are a thing, right? Additionally, what kind of Bob Ross adventures do Sheo and the Nailsmith go on after Hollow Knight is over? I want to see a DLC cataloging their life after the hardships of Hallownest, going to wine tastings and painting murals and shit. That'd be dope. Next, moving away from the Nailsmith and the Nail Masters and on to the Great Knights. Is Hegemel still alive, guys? We know that this lowly maggot has stolen Hegemel's suit of armor while Hegemel was still asleep inside, and the maggot became the false knight. But we don't know whatever became of Hegemel. Probably woke up butt-ass naked and fled Hallownest in shame. We know Team Cherry replied directly to this question on Reddit, but still, nothing definitive. Next night, how did Isma get embedded into the Wall of Vines? She used to be one of the 5 Great Knights also, and we know her ass wasn't protecting diddly if she were just a rooted plant implanted into the wall. So how'd that happen? How did Ogrim descend from a Great Knight to being a defender of dung down beneath the capital city, making shit sculptures while Sheo and the Nailsmith looked down their noses at him from their arts and crafts table? And how the hell did Isma ever get over that?
The smelly smell that smells smelly.
Next, why didn't the Mantis traders kill the White Lady after fighting so valiantly and ultimately defeating Drya at the entrance to the White Lady's abode in Queen's Gardens? They just sent wave after wave of reinforcements to die to Drya, and when they finally killed the old Great Knight, they just leave? I mean, maybe it was the seal of binding over the White Lady that deterred them, but then why did Drya have to die if the White Lady was already protected from the seal? I really don't know. Speaking of higher pale beings, let's transition over to unanswered questions about the Pale King and the White Palace. This is just a few of many. We finally find the Pale King's body tucked away in the recesses of the White Palace, sitting upon his throne and presumably dead. After dream nailing him and getting the classic no cost too great line of dialogue, we're met with one additional little line of dialogue, simply as 3 dots. This little ... style of typing is usually reflective that there's still more that has been left unsaid. Why does this happen with the Pale King and not with any other bug or being in the game when dream nailed? And also, later whenever we return back to the White Palace after having already beaten it once and finding the Pale King, his body is completely gone, having just vanished. I still don't know if this was an unintentional occurrence by Team Cherry or if there are greater implications for the sequel. Now, what's the actual reason for all of the spools of silk in the hidden station? We know it's presumably from the Pale King's agreement to a dalliance with Hera the Beast, but we don't know the exact reasoning behind this transport of silk to the White Palace. Maybe it was all for those white sheets the Pale King uses to protect his valuable china when he bailed on his kingdom. Who knows? Or how about this little nugget? So if the Pale King tarnished the Hollow Knight by instilling the idea of a father-child relationship as we see at the end of the Path of Pain, then what about the White Lady building an entire bassinet and baby room for the guy? I mean, this fool is supposed to be a hardened and mindless soldier, built for the sole purpose of containing the Radiance. Meanwhile, the White Lady's over here swaddling his ass and giving him a binky. You tell me who tarnished the Hollow Knight. Oh yeah, also, since we're still talking about the White Palace, another mystery to me is, how does this exit to the Pale King's workshop lead us all the way over here? I think William Pellin got a little too saucy on the Vegemite that day. And what's up with the Pale King's obsession with buzzsaws? That's just a side note. Moving along, how about the Godseekers? What did the Godseekers do that was so bad to cause their gods to abandon them? We get glimpses into the origin of the Godseekers when we visit the Land of Storms, but we never find out why exactly the Godseekers have been forsaken, ultimately leading them to seek out other gods to worship. Now here are a few regarding the Colosseum. What could this sweet and harmless little bug possibly have done to get tied up inside of the Colosseum of Fools? And what happened to the Lord of Fool? Boy just chilling up there for God knows how long and nobody bothers to get him down. And why does no one care that the Lord Fool is dead? Everyone's just like, fuck it, get good. And how the hell does Tiso end up getting bitch slapped by the brooding Moloch after talking shit to us the entire game? I really do love Tiso from a character design and voice acting perspective as well, but how come he gets pieced up in the Colosseum of Fools? You really hate to see it. What kind of cooking must Confessor GG be used to in order to be throwing down those rancid eggs like I tossed back antacids after hitting the all-you-can-eat pizza spot down the road? That bug clearly has a serious problem. Probably puts Ogrim to shame when she hits the toilet afterwards. Also, why has Steel Soul Jin lost her memory? And who are her masters she refers to? And also, why is there a Steel Soul Jin type baby bug in Silksong? Anyways, I digress. Now moving on to Quirrel. Where the hell does Quirrel go after leaving the Blue Lake? After breaking Monument's Dreamer seal in the teacher's archive, Quirrel can be found at the Blue Lake, peaceful now that his journey in Hallow Nest is over. Upon returning here later, Quirrel is gone and all that remains is his sword. So where the hell did my boy go? What about Iselda? Who was Iselda in a former life, before she met Cornifer and put her weapon down? We know she still wants to stretch her legs and hit the dusty trail once more. I just wonder what kind of bug she used to be. Next up is the dearest bug of them all. Do we think that Myla can be saved, despite initially being lost to the infection? I need a canonical fuck yes from Team Cherry. And how did the militia survive the infection? She's like the only sane survivor surrounded by her old compadres who ostracized her ass, just laughing hysterically that their minds have gone to shit and that she alone survived. I know this has been mentioned before, but how is he called the Elder Bug when he's like one of the youngest dudes in Hallow Nest? Or how about this? What's the possible connection between this statue found behind the Fury of the Fallen charm that we pick up in King's Pass and the Shade Lord in the Embrace the Void ending. I originally found a little bit of a connection between the Hunter and the Shade Lord, but ultimately squashed that due to insufficient evidence. However, this particular statue and the Shade Lord look very similar with their 8 eyes, and I wonder if there could be some deeper connection. A deeper connection between the Shade Lord, a suffocated, fallen, void god, and the charm we find in front of this statue titled Fury of the Fallen. Anyways, just fun speculation. I'll keep this next one short and sweet. Is this the mask maker's real face? After stripping away what we believe is a mask, the mask maker makes us guess again. And what's up with the mask maker and Mr. Mushroom's eyes? They're both pretty identical in artistic appearance. If I had to speculate, I'd say they've probably been dipping into William Pellin's Vegemite. Now what's up with this sweet little child, Joni? I feel so bad for this kind and vulnerable little bug. How did she get way down here in this carefully constructed tomb, and why? Or how in the actual fuck does Sly wield a nail like 3 times his size?
Ooh.
Get the hell out of here, Salubra. And what poor life must this miserable fuck have been living at the time in order to accept this job? My man truly said fuck it in the most permanent of ways. And so now, down to the final 3. Third to last is this. Was Zote bullied as a baby bug, or was he always a pathological liar? Dude's a knight of no renown, but pumps himself up as the greatest thing ever. Second to last. What's Bretta been eating, boy? That's a thick ass bug. And finally, who would win in a breeding battle? Fluke Marm, the White Lady, or the giant aspen mother with her glowing womb? And that's that, guys. There are 40 of my most burning questions that I still have left unanswered from Hollow Knight, and if you have the answer to any of these questions, please let me know in the comments below, because I do seriously want to know. And again, if you have any questions yourself that didn't make my list today, please drop that down below as well. Maybe somebody in the community can enlighten us all. As always, like the video if you did, subscribe if you want more S-tier Hollow Knight content, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.